While we wait with a great anticipation for the free trade agreement, the details were to be released this afternoon. There's another important announcement that we haven't noticed or paid much attention to is for a Chinese bank to be appointed as a clearing bank for RMB trade. Can you explain to us the significance of this?
This is hugely important for Australia and for the region as a whole, Peter. The clearing bank will be an official appointment by the Chinese central bank with the approval of the Australian government. It will allow the efficient and timely clearance of renminbi currency in Australia. Banks can already do that at the moment, but this provides a very direct and very efficient linkage into the Chinese market. The impact, of course, is the opportunity to create pools of liquidity here in Australia to support the development of the new market.
Does the appointment of a Chinese bank to become a clearance bank, does it mean that Sydney has a better chance to become an international hub for trading in RMB?
This decision will really propel Sydney into a new league. There's only a very small number of countries and cities around the world that have this official clearing bank status. Sydney will now have that status in the Asia Pacific region and will be a really important part in bringing together a whole lot of the pieces of activity that have been going on in Sydney, particularly to promote it as a financial centre. I describe it as the last piece to make the equation a great success.
At the moment, the trade relation between China and Australia is very strong. There's a very large volume for trade. How much of it is actually carried out in RMB?
That's a good question. The actual volume of renminbi denominated trade is relatively small in both volume in Australia and in global terms. And that's because most of the trade that Australia has with China is denominated in US dollars. It supports the large exports we have of commodities. But with the signing of the FTA, we're expecting to see significant volumes of trade in both goods and services over the next decade, and that will underpin the development of a much deeper local renminbi market.
And also a lot of the major Australian exporters to China, the big iron ore miners and etc. And they have in the past shown some willingness to trade in RMB. And how hard is actually to persuade BHP Real to export or to invoice their Chinese clients in RMB?
Well, at the moment we're not seeing a huge desire and need for the commodity traders to do that. However, there are some encouraging signs. We've seen all of the major commodity houses, BHP, Rio, Fortescue, all starting to develop systems. They've done small trades denominated in renminbi. And I think that's an exciting sign because it demonstrates that they're ready to move when the market requires them to move.
Apart from the big commodity exporters, who else do you expect to be happy or more enthusiastic about adopting RMB as their currency?
Well, at the bottom line, everybody should be happy because this is really a very significant step. It's positioning Australia to participate in the huge growth opportunities that are going to come out of both trade and the increasing use of the renminbi as an internationally used and recognised currency. So I think from all traders in both Australia and China and the region will benefit from these developments.
Sure. Maybe just one last question. What is the benefit for Australian exporters to invoice in RMB?
Very simply, cheaper pricing, more efficient.